The UN estimates more than 1.5 million people have fled Ukraine since Russia's invasion of that country. The European Union says as many as 5 million Ukrainians could eventually flee if the fighting continues. This is the fastest growing refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. David Miliband is president and CEO of the International Rescue Committee, which oversees relief operations in more than 40 countries affected by the war. David, good morning to you. I'm wondering your thoughts as you see. Good morning. What are your thoughts as you see this sea of humanity crossing the borders? What stands out to you? What concerns you the most at this time?
I think the biggest impression is it could be me or you. These people are teachers, they're journalists, they're charity workers, they're business people, they're housewives. So refugees who are fleeing inside Ukraine and then crossing the border are just people. What concerns me most is two things. First of all, on the European side of the border, people are obviously safe, but there needs to be proper organization so that the systems are not overwhelmed. I think the European Union has made a very good start in that. Inside Ukraine, I'm desperately fearful about the people who are trapped in besieged cities, people without water, heating, and in some cases, healthcare, which is an area where the International Rescue Committee specializes. So we've got real fear for people's lives inside the country, and we've got real job to make sure that people are safe across the border.
Yeah, the situation, David, does seem so desperate and heartbreaking. Tony Dokoupil, who was there, as you know, told the story yesterday that a woman told him of reports of women being raped by Russian soldiers. Have you heard stories like that as well?
I've certainly read that in the media. We've also got unaccompanied children, and we've got the terrible sight of civilians trying to get out of besieged cities being targeted themselves. That is a war crime. There's no other way to describe it.
David, Nate Burleson here. Now, the European Union is allowing Ukrainian refugees to stay and work for up to 3 years. What do you make of that?
That's good news, Nate. Good to have that question. The European Union has really stepped up. In the past, the 27 countries of the European Union have been divided on refugee questions. Today, they're united. All 27 countries guaranteeing not just the right to entry, not just the right to work, but the right for every kid to go to school, every adult to access any social services they need. What organizations like mine do, like the International Rescue Committee, we're there in Poland with a team that's going to branch out across Europe. We already have services in Greece and in Germany. We're going to provide our expertise to make sure that the kids are properly brought into the local schooling system, recognizing the trauma that they've been through, that there's labor market help for employment for adults, never forgetting that the work we do across the border into Ukraine and across conflict lines literally keeps people alive. That's why we focus on healthcare, for example, why we focus on the protection of kids.
David, how does this treatment compare to refugees from Syria and Afghanistan?
In the case of the European Union, we've got unity now where there was disunity before. We've got welcome now where there was a very divided response before. In the case of the Syrian crisis, it took 3 months for 1 million people to flee Syria. In the case of Ukraine, it's taken a week, and we're now up to 1.5 million.
And why do you think that is? A lot of people are starting to say, listen, when people were coming here from El Salvador, Honduras, they were not welcome. They were not really they were not received very well. When you talk about Syria and Afghanistan, too, what do you think is the difference here?
Well, it's simple. There's more fear of incorporating and integrating people from different races and different religions into national life. Let's be honest about it. Now, what we know from the history of this country, the International Rescue Committee was founded by Albert Einstein. We've worked here for 80 years and around the world for 80 years as well. What we know is that in the end, people fleeing for their freedom and for their lives, they're desperate to have a second chance. And the countries that they adopt as their new homes, they become patriotic and productive citizens because of the chance that it's given them.
Yeah, I think people need to be reminded of that. You know, we had time and time, you look at people coming from Haiti, people coming, as I said, El Salvador, Honduras. They were not treated this well. And I think we all want the Ukrainian people to be helped. Everybody agrees with that. But there is enough pain to go around here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.